Hey guys, it's Bonnie. Long time no see. Sorry about that. I actually meant to film this video quite a long time ago. You know, not a long time, like a week ago, like right when the movie came out, right when I saw it, but it just didn't happen. So now I'm here. I have seen Mockingjay twice now, so I think I can really give my full opinion on my thoughts. So let's get right into the review slash discussion. Actually, before we get right into it, let me just say, 1, I am filming at night again, so hopefully the lighting is okay. 2, it is like almost midnight, so I don't know how I'm talking. And also 3, I am sick, so I don't know how I'm talking. It kind of hurts to talk. I wish I would have filmed this video sooner so that I could talk without being sick, but ugh, yeah. Alright, let's get into the review. So this review section will be non-spoilery in case you haven't seen the movie yet, which it's been like a week, so like, what are you doing? Basically, it was very good. I really liked Mockingjay, especially because it was split and you don't really know how that's gonna affect the whole movie. But I think they did a really good job. At least as a fan, like, I was always interested and hold on, I'm choking because I'm sick. Especially as like a fan's perspective, it was really good. It had mostly everything that I wanted to see in the movie, and yeah, it was really good. I could see where critics are coming from, where they kind of, you know, say some negative things about it, because not that much happens in Mockingjay Part 1, if I'm gonna be honest. So I could see why critics might not find it as good, but for a fan, it was still very good. It still had some really intense scenes, whether you're a fan or not. And I think when it comes to splitting a movie in half, they did as good as they possibly could. Yeah. I think a lot of the problems that most critics have with the movie stem from Mockingjay itself. I know for me, Mockingjay is my least favorite book in the series. I was quite disappointed with the ending especially, so we'll see what they think of Mockingjay Part 2. It'll be more action-packed, which was most of the complaints, but we'll see. But yeah, other than that, I mean, they comment a lot on Katniss and how she is starting to kind of deteriorate in this movie, and I don't think that's something they should negatize. Is that a word? No. Because for what Katniss has been through, like, obviously she's going to be not doing so hot. Obviously the post-traumatic stress of everything is going to get to her. However, I agree to a point that in Mockingjay, Katniss's overall character arc could have been done better, but that's, again, a problem with the book, not really the movie's fault. The movie is just following its source material. Yeah. So overall, as a fan, I'd probably give it like an A- because it was good, but it wasn't like as good as Catching Fire, which I think is what we're mostly comparing to. It wasn't even really as good as The Hunger Games, to be honest. But yeah, as a critic's point of view, I could see like a B, like a solid B, I would say, because it's just, oh God, I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, if you're not a fan and you're not just watching this because you're a fan, it could feel incomplete because it's, you know, it's not complete. It is half of a movie, essentially, half of a story. So I understand where they're coming from when they say things like that. However, Jennifer Lawrence's acting makes up for all of that because she was phenomenal. Phenomenal. But are we surprised? No. Okay, so that was my review part. If you have not seen the movie yet and you don't want to be spoiled, time to peace out. Okay, so discussions. I've seen the movie twice now and I still, like, whenever I do a review, I'm always just like, or a discussion, I'm just like, what am I saying? So the beginning scene, let's talk about that because that was crazy intense and I was not expecting it. Because in the book, we start out in District 12, not in District 13, but we're in District 15, and we see Katniss kind of having one of her mental breakdowns. And it was crazy. And then, like, she's in the hospital after they knock her out, and then we see Finnick, and he says that. I don't think he says that in the book, but it was really a powerful line in the movie, where he says, "I wish they were dead, and we were too. I wish we were all dead," or something like that. And I was like, let's talk about Sam Claflin in general here while we're on Finnick. I thought he was fantastic in this movie. He got to play, obviously, Finnick's more sensitive and mentally unstable side, and he did so well at it. Like, I couldn't pick a better person to play Finnick than Sam Claflin, because he just has him so well down, and he really brings Finnick alive, and it's so nice to see. So Sam, if you're watching this, you're not, but if you are, I know you're self-conscious about yourself and what fans think of you. You are amazing, and no one can play Finnick like you. Moving on to other things. What happens in this movie? We see Katniss go to District 12 for the first time. That was also crazy intense. When, like, she's walking and she looks down and she sees, like, the skull. Like, that was crazy. I didn't think they would show that much, but they did, and it was really good. The only thing was, like, there's this one point where she's, like, kneeling on the ground, and I'm like, I would not kneel on the ground. Those ashes are humans. And then when she goes into her house and she finds, you know, the rose, that was really well done, and Buttercup, that was really well done. Now I would like to talk about the scene where Katniss is giving her demands for being the Mockingjay, and kind of the scene before that, the scenes leading up to that, because it was a little different than it was in the book. I'm pretty sure, like, in the book she decided to be the Mockingjay after she talks to Gale, and, like, I don't know. That scene, I was missing that scene as a Gale Katniss fan and as a Gale fan, where Katniss is in command and she kind of just storms out, which she does, but it's not the same way as in the book. And, like, I know Gale, like, punches Boggs, and then, like, he has a bloody nose, and, like, but we won't get into that. But that's none of my business. Katniss's list of demands. She goes in and she's like, you know, we're gonna rescue Peeta and Joanna and Annie, blah, 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 blah. I think that scene was really well done, you know, how she said it, blah, 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 whatever. But what I was missing is, like, the I kill Snow part. I felt like that was a very important part of Katniss's character, because throughout Mockingjay, that kind of becomes her mantra that she just repeats to herself, like, I'll kill Snow, and then whatever happens to me, I don't care. If I die, I don't care. I just want to kill Snow. And so by not saying that line in her list of demands, it just, I don't know. I feel like it should have been in there. It was important, in my opinion. Speaking of her demands and talking to Coin and Plutarch in that scene, the two of them were so good. Like, obviously, Philip Seymour Hoffman is amazing. We know, rest in peace, you beautiful man. And Julianne Moore, we also know, is amazing, but we haven't seen her as Coin, obviously, until now. And she was fantastic. Like, she was so effortless. Like, she really did feel like she, like, was this, like, character. Like, I didn't see Julianne Moore in there at all. It was just great. She had her little sassy moments, and it was just really nice. Very cool, very effortless. I really liked it. Now let's talk about Effie. Effie has a completely different role in Mockingjay the movie as she does in Mockingjay the book, which at first I was a little like about, but at the same time, Elizabeth Banks is so good at what she does, and that's why they obviously put Effie into the movies. So I'm okay with it, I suppose. Yeah. And she was really good. Like, she was really funny. She brought this comic relief sort of to a very heavy, dark movie, which is kind of needed. That scene when we first see her and she, like, is acting like a prisoner of war, I thought that was really funny. And that comment she makes about Coin's hair, she's like, that hair needs a revolution. I was just like... Now I would like to talk about Gale in this role, because you guys know that Gale is my favorite character. Yes, I wore this shirt to the movie, which is why I'm wearing it now. But, oh god, Liam Hemsworth did so freaking good as Gale, because we obviously get to see Gale more in this movie, and it was so nice when he was talking to, you know, like, the cameras in District 12 and saying how he got all those people out, but, like, how he wanted to get more people out, and he was just kind of hard on himself. I just... Gale, my man. I love him so much. I love him so much. And that scene, that whole part from Gale doing, you know, saying that, and there's that scene with him and Katniss where he says the line, it was like verbatim pretty much for the book, where he's like, you only kiss me when I'm in pain. I was just like, And And then right after that is the hanging tree scene, which was the best scene in the entire book. Scene in the entire movie. Let me just say, that was so powerful. How Katniss is singing, which Jennifer Lawrence, you sounded great. Shut up. Miss I'm a dead goat, like, no. That scene was so incredible with the workers going into that place. Like, they knew they were gonna die, but they were all singing the hanging tree and they're gonna sacrifice themselves for a better cause. And it was just so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It's something we get to see in the movie that we don't get to see in the books, because in the books we are limited to Katniss's perspective. So it was very cool to see that in the movie, and yeah, I'm glad they put that in. I'm sure we're gonna see more of that in Mockingjay Part 2. Another action scene, really, that I can think of in the movie, and that was before the hanging tree scene, I kind of skipped over that, but was with Katniss, Gale, and Boggs, and the crew team in District 8 with the hospital bombing. I thought that was really well done. The scene in the hospital was very moving with all those people. I was surprised they mentioned, like, that lady who was like, what about the baby? And I was like, oh, they brought that back. I wasn't even really thinking about that. I mean, it didn't look like Katniss was either. She's just like, oh, I lost it. Like, girl, it's fake. But obviously she couldn't say that. Of course, we have to talk about Peeta. That was heartbreaking. I'm not even that big of a Peeta fan. I mean, I don't hate him or dislike him. I like Peeta, obviously. But I mean, Josh Hutcherson, he did a really good job. CGI they had to do on Josh Hutcherson to kind of make him thinner, because he's kind of like a, I don't know, pudgier, I guess, actor. But like, seeing him thinner, it's like, you don't look right. You need your normal size, all that kind of thing. And yeah, that was very crazy. Like, especially him at the end when he's like thrashing in the bed and you finally get the overview of his whole body. He just looked so like wrong and little, and it's just like, no, that was really. And why didn't they have him like sedated or something? Like, he gonna give himself a concussion. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the rescue scene, which was freaking cool. We don't get to see the rebels going in and rescuing Peeta and Joanna and Annie in the book, and we really don't get to see them rescuing them in the movie either. We just get to see like what's going on, and they have that great line in there still about Gale being the first one to volunteer. Just remember that, Gale haters, first one to volunteer. That was a really freaking awesome scene. I'm really glad that we got to see them going in there and all that jazz. The only thing I didn't like was that it was mirrored with Finnick's big confessions, which I understand you have to do because there are things that are, those two things are taking place at the same time. But I felt like in a way it kind of took away from what Finnick was saying. And what he's saying there is so important to his character and to just the world that they're living in. So I wish when he was saying, like, I realized like they should have kept it how it is, except when Finnick was saying, you know, he sold my body, blah, blah, blah. I feel like they should have went full screen Finnick right at that moment so that everyone was hearing those words, because they are so important to his character in the story. And I just felt like if you weren't paying attention to him, you wouldn't have grasped that moment. I'm not really sure because obviously I knew it because I read the books. But yeah, I felt like they should have done it a little differently right there, but otherwise I loved it. One scene I also forgot to talk about, I just keep going back, is the scene where District 13 is getting bombed. That was really well done. That was really intense. Like, you know Prim is gonna be okay and she's gonna come down eventually. But like, I was just like, hurry up, the doors are closing. So is that everything? I think that's, oh. And then, okay, going back to after the rebel scene and everything, when they're getting reunited and, you know, there's Finnick and Annie, we get that really quick glimpse of Joanna, who, wow, Joanna Mason, Jenna Malone, looking like that. Kind of crazy, but really good. Can't wait to see more of her in Mockingjay Part 2. And then we get the big scene that everyone's been waiting for, Katniss and Peeta's reuniting, and the choking scene, which was like 100 times more crazy than the book. Because he did not just choke her, he like body slammed her on the ground. Like, it was intense, I was terrified, and it was crazy. And then right after that scene, like, the like screen goes dark and you just think like, are you gonna do this? But then they don't. Thank God, because I wouldn't want to end it like that. Speaking of, last thought here, I think they ended it at a very perfect spot with, you know, we know Pete is crazy or hijacked, and we know Katniss is kind of doesn't know what to do about it, and we see Coin giving this final speech, kind of revving everyone up, hoo-ha, hoo-ha, hoo, you know, all that. Yet everything is still so wrong, Pete is all messed up, what's gonna happen from here? I thought it was the perfect place to end the movie, and the only place you could have ended the movie, to be honest. Okay, those are my thoughts about Mockingjay Part 1, the movie. Let me know what you thought down below. I'm really excited, but also not for Part 2 because then it's the last movie and I'm just not ready for that. I've had a Hunger Games movie, just like, I've been anticipating these movies every year and I'm not ready for it to end. I'm not ready, but it has to. I want it now, but I also want it to be pushed back forever. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. I hope this wasn't too quiet, because I am talking a bit more quiet, because like I said, it's midnight. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.